lifeblood of planet Earth and mankind. They flow over 3/4 of our planet and hold 97% of the planet's water. Our oceans produce more than half of the oxygen in our atmosphere and absorb the most carbon from it. It's home to an estimated 70% of all life on Earth. Despite their beauty, our oceans face a dire threat. Every day, millions of pieces of plastic enter our oceans, and plastic pollution can now be found on every beach in the world, including the Isle of Man. Nowhere is safe. Every year, humans consume an incredible 500 billion plastic bottles. At Revend, we see this not as a challenge, but as an opportunity to revolutionise recycling and showcase the Isle of Man as pioneers in this space by incentivising consumers to do the right thing. Deploying our state-of-the-art reverse vending machines across the island, we're capturing plastic before it even has a chance to reach our oceans. From the bustling sea terminal to community hotspots, we're making it easier than ever and more rewarding for everybody to recycle. As part of the Innovation Challenge, we've already begun deploying these RVMs around the island at locations such as the sea terminal. Here, consumers can recycle their plastic waste responsibly and claim rewards and incentives for doing the right thing. Imagine getting a free coffee or cinema ticket just for doing the right thing. These incentives not only encourage recycling, but also boost local business, creating a vibrant circle of economic and environmental benefits. Working with the local council, we're able to ensure that every piece of plastic collected is transformed right here on island into valuable materials for manufacturing. Everything from sorting, cleaning, shredding and processing. This gives a fully transparent plastic recycling solution that not only benefits the planet and the people, it also supports businesses in the biosphere. Join us in making a difference. Together, let's turn the tide against plastic pollution and lead the way to a more sustainable future.
Hi, I'm Zach Johnson, founder of Revend Group. I wasn't going to cheat and let you watch a video for 10 minutes, so I just thought I'd start off with a video to explain and show you some of the locations that we've been looking at and how we're deploying Revend. I suppose we've seen the problem. The problem is plastic bottles. It's one of those problems that's not going to go away in the next sort of 20, 30 years. So how do we fix that problem? There's some great businesses out there recycling plastic from the ocean, but how do we stop it entering it? How do we stop it creating an impact on our lives? As you would have heard, there's 500 billion plastic bottles being used per year in the world, which is 156 per person, which is an astounding number per year. Sadly, only 9% of all plastics ever produced since the 1950s. Some of us will know the 1950s and see when plastic was produced. That's an incredible statistic, and we just need to make that 10%, 11%, 1% a year. If we can get better every year, we need to take steps. Why should we recycle plastic? Apart from the obvious, the fact that none of us particularly like eating plastic in our fish and drinking it in our water, it also has other benefits to manufacturing. It's got 20% less water consumption, it's a reusable material, it's 50% less energy consumption when used, and it produces 60% less air pollution. Our solution is taking the Isle of Man to lead the resource revolution. It's a hard one to say, resource revolution. By turning waste plastics into rewards. We do this in 5 steps. So the first step is the RVM locations, identifying those key partner locations. We then collect that plastic using electric vehicles. We deliver it to potentially the Douglas Recycling Centre, where we're deploying industrial grade recycling shredders. We then remake that. So once it's shredded down into a flake, we're able to turn that into baled plastic, which we're able to keep on island rather than pushing off of island. And then we can turn it into bottles, we can extrude it back into pellet. And then the 5th one, which I feel is one of the most important, is advertising and consumer engagement. Doing a project like this requires capital. That capital needs to come from somewhere. And to do that, what we've done is we've made our machines with a 50-inch touchscreen on the front, which uses advertising. So you can advertise green messaging, green services, sponsors and advertisers, but at the same time, you can wrap the RVM. And more importantly, there's rewards, and those rewards reward you, the consumer, for recycling and doing the right thing. Because we're able to tap each one of those 5 areas, we're able to give an end-to-end traceability on the Isle of Man. from RVM collection to the Douglas Recycling Centre into shredding and regeneration. Each step's tracked, which allows us to know the data. So we know the data of plastics coming into the island. We know the data of plastics going out of the island as well. The big question is, I've spoken for a while, what is an RVM? An RVM is a reverse vending machine, similar to a normal vending machine, but it doesn't give you anything. It actually takes something from you and gives you a reward or an incentive. There are deposit return schemes in the market, which gives you 10 cents back. Whilst there's no deposit return scheme in the UK and on the island, we were thinking, how do we make that work? So using a reward metrics on the Isle of Man would allow us to give benefits to consumers. This allows you to turn your trash into treasure. How do they work? They're super simple. They're really intuitive. If anyone's here and they're going to the sea terminal, you can use one there. You take your bottle, you finish it, you put the bottle in, it recycles it, crushes it down, you hear it recycle, you can scan a barcode and you can receive a reward. That reward can be cash incentives, can be a lot of other things. I'll cover the rewards in a moment, but that's when it works using an app. The application is a reward app. So it's a really simple interface. It can be branded Isle of Man Recycling. It can have sponsors on it, so it can be powered by a sponsor. And this gives discounts. And one of the big areas that I was really keen on is discounts to local stores. How do we engage with locals? How do we engage with local business? Because it's really important. And I think in this era where larger companies are coming in, how do we incentivize people to use their local stores? So this is another way to do that. You can get cinema tickets, free coffees, or even cash for trash. Some of our activations, we've activated at the C20 World Cup. We've activated at the Aramco Team Series in golf. So we understand working in large environments with a lot of people in them. Some of our stadiums actually have the population of the Isle of Man in them, and we're able to recycle the plastics on a daily basis. What do you get from it? You get 66% kilos of carbon saved every time it's emptied, 575 millijoules of energy saved, 119 litres of water, and 7.8 barrels of oil saved every time that machine's recycling. It holds 1,200 bottles each time. Proposed permanent locations. So we've been looking at locations that could work for this fleet. We've identified that there would be a fleet of 40 machines to cover the island to make it work. We have them in stock and they're ready to go, and we've been deploying them as we speak. The sea terminal has them in. We're looking at the airport. We're looking at Tesco stores. We're looking at Douglas Railway, National Sports Centre, the Gaiety Theatre, R&L lifeboat stations. Schools and colleges are really important, especially from a sponsorship and advertising perspective, to get in front of young minds and actually engage with them. There's places like head offices, which are really important and prominent, allowing them to tell the story for us as well. So we think those locations are really important. We also adhere to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, so 6 of them specifically to our business: responsible consumption and production, industry innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, good health and well-being, climate action, and life below water. You're in good hands. I think that's one of the things that I wanted to say is we have been deploying these for a number of years. We know what we're doing. We work with NatWest deploying those machines as well. They're branded NatWest. They're purple. You can't miss them in London. They're at network rail stations. They're at hospitals. We work with Aramco. Again, probably for some in the sustainability space, a dirty word at times. But actually, I find Aramco one of the biggest industries that we can change, and showing that they can do something really positive and impactful is really important to us. We work in sports events and stadiums where there's high footfall in a short space of time. We work with Hilton. We work with the Co-op and Jockey Club. And this is about deploying these machines in a really constructive way with a proven method that actually works. And I think when you deploy something like this, you need to have a proven track record in doing so. And we've started to do that, and it's now working very well.
1 minute.
Thank you. I won't let you suffer longer. We also work with the Red Sea. Again, an interesting industry for us to work in, but we're looking at how we recycle the plastic consumption there. The Red Sea being Saudi Arabia being one of the largest consumers of plastic bottles in the world. So we have one planet and one chance to make a difference. Let's make the Isle of Man a pioneer in recycling. Thank you very much for having me.